When it comes to Pokemon, one thing that is always a constant is that Pokemon have evolutions, and of course there is something else, which is the pre-evolutions, and that's what we're talking about today. See, in the past we got several different pre-evolutions for Pokemon, but it's been a while since then. It's been a long time actually since then, and I thought specifically today we'd look at this subject, what Pokemon could or should deserve to get brand new pre-evolutions for their Pokemon within Generation 9 in the future. So that's what we're doing today. 10 Pokemon that need pre-evolutions in the 9th generation of Pokemon. Also, a big and massive shout out to all the artists whose work will be featured in this video. All their links will be in the description down below. Either way, let's get started. Durant pre-evolution. So I don't know about you guys, but I love Durant. And honestly, I am utterly confused as to why this, Ant Pokemon hasn't gotten a pre-evolution or even a normal evolution in the past. Like, I'm really surprised by this, hence why I thought it would be cool to include this one. As for its design, it is fantastic, it's really cute and adorable, and that's kind of what I would assume a pre-evolution for Durant would look like. It starts off as a cute little ant, but then grows into this like much larger and more dangerous ant, and that's kind of what I would expect from something like this. Also, I like the change in color, as normal Durant is kind of got this kind of silvery steel type of look, whereas this pre-evolution would be far lighter, right, and got a little bit more like a yellowish tint to it. As for its name, it was suggested here that it would be called Brocant, the drilling Pokemon. Of course, the typing would be Bug on it, and then as it of course evolves, it would gain the Steel typing when it is Durant. So honestly, in my opinion, I'm really surprised Durant hasn't gotten extra love, and I think this would be fantastic for it. So yeah, Lapras is next, and Lapras really needs to get a pre-evolution. Now, I've said it for a long time, but like a baby Pokemon, a pre-evolution, something like that for Lapras is needed, as it doesn't have a evolution, a mega evolution, or much really in any other areas. I mean, recently it did receive in Sword and Shield a Gigantamax form, but I still think this Pokemon could get even more love, as it honestly is one of the best Pokemon designs we've ever had. Essentially based on like the Loch Ness Monster, I find that it getting a pre-evolution like this, which is just adorable and cute, it's just like a smaller version of Lapras, where you can kind of see how it all started, right? Like, Lapras didn't just kind of come out of thin air like a, big, fully grown, looking Loch Ness Monster, but rather, it started off like a baby Pokemon, just kind of floating around in the ocean along its mother, and I think something like this would really get that across, and I freaking love this. As for its typing, I guess it could be just pure water type, or water-ice type, the same way that Lapras is. It's really up to what you guys think. So, what do you guys think about this one? I really want Lapras to get some, love from Game Freak. So, Absol pre-evolution is next. Now, why do I want to see an Absol pre-evolution? Well, honestly, it's one of the biggest things is the fact that Absol is a single-stage Pokemon, right? It only really has a Mega Evolution, which we can't even experience anymore because Megas aren't in the recent games. So, like, if we were to get something in the future, right, and they don't bring back Mega Evolutions, it would be nice to see Absol get some love with a pre-evolution like this. Just a smaller version of Absol, slightly more cute and adorable and tiny, just as a way to kind of, again, represent that this Pokemon doesn't just start out like this badass looking thing, but it starts out as an innocent little animal, kind of, or rather Pokemon, running through the forest, surviving, and then it slowly evolves and grows into what we have eventually, which is Absol, like one of the most badass Pokemon ever. So, what do you guys think? Do you think Absol deserves a pre-evolution? I personally think it does. Mimikyu is next, and this is a more recent Pokemon, right? We only really recently got this. It was introduced, of course, within the 7th generation of Pokemon with Sun and Moon, and it was a Pokemon that I was a bit confused about initially, but honestly, Mimikyu is a really unique Pokemon, and it's actually more popular than Pikachu, so giving it a maybe even evolution would actually be pretty cool. But with a pre-evolution, we got a design here that really kind of gets that across. It's a tinier version of Mimikyu, right? And also the difference is, this one is inherently happy, right? It's got a happy smile on it, it's a happy Pokemon, it's even painting with its freaking tail, and that's freaking cute to me. Like, it looks adorable. So what I'm trying to get across is something like this would honestly be fantastic, like genuinely fantastic. A way to show that Mimikyu maybe didn't start out like sad and scared and, even scary almost. It didn't start out like that. It started out like a cute little Pokemon, just kind of lost in life. And then, it was happy at first, but then people kind of ostracized it. And that's why it kind of gained fear, but also sadness in its heart. And I think this would kind of get that across, that that's how kind of Mimikyu ended up and didn't start out as. And I don't know, I just love this design. It's cute, adorable, and it works. Giraffe Rig pre-evolution. So, wow, Giraffe Rig is one of the most neglected Pokemon in general. I mean, this is a Pokemon that I loved from back in Generation 2. It was fantastic, but honestly, I'm really surprised it never got a pre-evolution, or even evolution, or even a mega, or something, right? Because I love this Pokemon, but it never got any sort of love from Game Freak, which is unfortunate, because the original design of Giraffe Rig itself really opens up a lot of opportunity for more things to be done. As for what we have here, we have a pre-evolution version of what it could look like, with, you know, a very happy-looking face, kind of a jolly little Pokemon, and of course the tail still being there, you know, with its weird little face, but this time around, it, like, you know, it's not fully kind of grown up yet. The tail doesn't have, like, you know, the kind of defined features of its face yet, and doesn't even have teeth. More or less, it's just kind of got these, like, you know, weird jaws. Like, it looks weird and different, right? But that's also what kind of gets it across to me that this is a younger version of a Giraffe Rig, right? This is before it kind of turns into what it eventually is. And honestly, I don't know why we haven't gotten something similar to this, or something maybe to do with like a kind of ghostly version of this, like having the tail be like the only part of this Pokemon, and then it kind of grows out into like Giraffe Rig. But like, I don't know, what do you guys think about that? I personally think this Pokemon, it should just get a bit of extra attention over time. Next is something that actually seemed to have been planned to be done, and this is actually Baby Tangela, or Pre-Evolution Tangela. So here's the thing, right? This design is by Skullheady, so shout out to Skullheady, but what I really like about this is that this was actually a planned ID. They actually were gonna do a pre-evolution for Tangela, and when I saw that, I was like, this is awesome, man, because it would have completed kind of Tangela's evolutionary line, because eventually we did get like an evolution for it, right? But we never got that pre-evolution, and I personally just thought, like, if they were to like bring in pre-evolutions again, if they were to do that, right, why not bring in a Pokemon that you initially had planned to do, but for some reason scrapped? Like, this isn't a must-have kind of Pokemon, but it's definitely one that I think is interesting and would be cool to have on like the roster of, you know, pre-evolution Pokemon. So what do you guys think about it? Next is a pre-evolution for Tentacool, Tentacruel, whatever you want to call them. This is a freaking awesome Pokemon. So, okay, again, this is essentially what I would imagine, right? A Tentacool looking before it turns into a tentacle, right? Lacking a lot of the extra things on it. And this design kind of gets that whole point across. It is, you know, small, it is kind of timid looking, it doesn't have those defined features just yet of a Tentacool, and honestly, it would kind of, again, complete the evolutionary line of this, you know, sort of Pokemon, right? Like, then you'd have this pre-evolution, then Tentacool, and then Tentacruel, and it would be a nice kind of perfect line of what they would look like. So, I don't know, personally, a big fan of this one. So, at the start of the list, we had Durant, and of course, that was, you know, fair enough. But what about its mortal enemy, essentially, which is Heatmore? What about that? Well, here we have a representation of what that could look like. This is Wormium, which would essentially be a pre-evolution for Heatmore, and wow, do I love this. Well, first of all, Heatmore itself, it's got a very unique design, right? We know what it's kind of based on, being an anteater, so to say, and also essentially being the enemy of a Durant. So, you know, we get the kind of general gist of what they're doing there. But as for the colors, they're very much kind of mixed together with the, like, kind of, you know, the yellowish, reddish, etc. But what if we had a more defined, like, fiery color to it? Well, here we have exactly that with this pre-evolution. It's got the fiery look to it, like the pure kind of red, fiery look to its body, or at least like the face part of it and the arms. And then the rest has got that kind of general style we expect from, you know, normal Heatmore. So honestly, personally, I'm a big fan of this one. I love it. I think that this needs to happen. Like, this would be so cool. Having, like, you know, these like little baby Durants and baby, like, you know, Heatmores running after each other in battle, or like being mortal enemies. That would be like so cool in general. Like, I'd love that to be a thing. And if in the future we get more wild areas, imagine if these existed and you could actually see a Heatmore running after a, you know, a Durant, or a group of Durant fighting as a Heatmore in like the wild area. Like, that would be so cool and really like dynamic, you know? So that's why it's on the list. All right, so we're coming to the top 2 now, and this is Zangoose pre-evolution. So this would be Braboose. And okay, so again, we have a case here where we have a pre-evolution, or rather, we have a single stage Pokemon that needs a pre-evolution, and Zangoose to me is one of those that could really fit with something like this. I mean, look at this thing. It is the perfect antithesis, geez, of what that would look like. It looks exactly what I would imagine a Zangoose pre-evolution would be like, and I love it. I mean, I don't really have much else to say, honestly. Like, that's pretty much it. It just looks exactly what I would imagine a pre-evolution Zangoose would look like. And as for the reasons why Zangoose should need a pre-evolution, again, it's a single stage Pokemon. We don't get to see more of it than just like its fully kind of formed singular version. So having maybe an evolution for it, which we've asked for in the past, or a pre-evolution would kind of make the kind of, you know, world of a Zangoose seem a little bit more logical to me. So I don't know, personally, I'd love this was to happen, and we actually got this. And finishing off the list is, of course, like the sort of enemy to Zangoose, and that is Seviper. So Seviper's pre-evolution design here would be Viviper, and this would essentially be, well, I mean, basically a baby Seviper. And again, this could be pretty cool because, as you guys remember that whole like meme from back in the day during the kind of like, not like the Who's That Pokemon, but like the similar kind of segment, they used to say, or there was like this error where they said that Arbok evolves into Seviper, or the other way around. It was really weird, okay? But that got me thinking, why haven't we gotten an actual pre-evolution or evolution for Seviper? It's one of like, definitely my personal favorite, like, snake Pokemon in general, and I'm really surprised we haven't gotten like, you know, something within that realm or something added to it in a long time. I mean, I expected maybe there to be some sort of Galarian form for it as we were kind of getting into, you know, the flow of Generation 8 hype, but no, we didn't get anything, so I was really surprised, which is why I'm kind of considering, you know, why not give it some love in Generation 9 with a pre-evolution? What do you guys think? Let me know. And that is basically the last one on the list. So that is it, ladies and gentlemen. If you guys did enjoy the video, if you did, then drop a like down below. Make sure to subscribe for future videos. My name has been Ruffle Rowlet, and I thank you so much for watching this video. Of course, make sure to check out all the artists with the link in the description down below. You can find all that down there, and go check them out. Show them some love. Be really appreciated. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. See you next time. Bye-bye, ladies and gentlemen.